Welcome in ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5. It's the Bullpen with me, Brian McDonald. I can be found on Twitter at SackByBMac. To my right, we have Cam Smith found on Twitter at Clutch City Cam. And main event Mapes, Sean Mapes on Twitter at Sean A. Mapes with our man Johnny Belmer behind the glass found on Twitter at Third Coast Johnny. If you want to give us a call or a text, get in on the conversation. We're going to lead off here with the Texans, but we'll get into the Astros in later in the hour. Give us a call or a text on the HRMP listener line, 713-780-3776. So, like I said, we're going to lead off Texans here, but Georgia Tech and Florida State leading off the college football season in Dublin, Ireland is on our TV. So, certainly, we're probably going to have some reaction to that as well. Florida State leading early with a very baseball score of 11-7 right now in the second quarter. Georgia Tech has the ball at about midfield with some of the cleanest uniforms I've seen in a while. I like these uniforms a lot. Oh, there's a nice run up the middle. This is a fun game so far. Any early thoughts on what we've seen from this Florida State Georgia Tech game?
No, not really.
Okay, fair. Fair.
You gotta love a good football game in Dublin, Brian.
See, Cam. What you don't know, listeners, is that Cam broke out an Irish accent right before the show, and I said he's going to have to do it on the show. So.
Really solid run by number 27.
So, maybe, you know what? Maybe occasionally, whenever there's a big play, we'll just throw to Irish Cam for his analysis, and that's how we'll talk about this game.
Live from Dublin.
Live from Dublin. We'll go to Irish Cam. Cam Smith, I assume that's an Irish name, right? That's a very Irish name.
You see, before my people came over, we were the Murdochs. And the old Smiths, and they took off the O's so that we could get across. So, very, very Irish in my family.
I can't believe Gal Media is footing the bill for this international call that we're getting live from Dublin, Ireland.
We go to our stringer in Dublin.
Going back to the sports map days, Georgia Tech just missed a bomb. What happened there, Irish Cam? Bomb down the sideline to number 2, but it gets overthrown. Can you break that down for us?
You see, it's supposed to be a fade route, so you'd think that he would throw to the left, but obviously the man threw it over his head to the right. So just poor execution all around.
All right, thank you to the stringer, Irish Cam Smith.
Yeah.
That's good stuff there.
It's a rare missed bomb in Ireland.
I didn't think we were going to get IRA jokes 1 minute into the show. Wow, Johnny might have to dump us if Sean starts making more IRA
jokes.
jokes.
No, I can't promise that's the last one. That's the
you
last
can't
one.
promise it's the last.
It's the last one for the segment.
Okay, no more IRA jokes for at least the next 10 minutes. I don't want to get Cam in trouble. He's live in Ireland. He might not make it home. All right, so let's talk some Houston Texans who right now taking the field against the Rams in the final preseason game that no one other than the players' parents cares about, which is why we're watching Georgia Tech versus Florida State. But I had this thought yesterday as kind of a way to quantify my confidence in the Houston Texans this season, because there's been a lot of talk about, sophomore slumps or the schedule's too tough or this and that. Maybe the depth at certain positions isn't what you would hope for. But as I was thinking about trying to find a way to counter those arguments and quantify my confidence in the Texans, it really comes down to, obviously the two most important spots of the team, head coach and quarterback, and which people at those spots I would actually trade either D'Amico Ryans or CJ Stroud for. So for CJ Stroud, I only came up with 2 names in the entire league. If these teams were hey, 1 for 1, our quarterback for your quarterback, would you take it? The only 2 I would actually take a trade for would be Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. Am I off on that?
No, that's justified. There's really a top 4.
You can make the argument for Lamar, but he's a little bit older, and I worry about it's obviously Josh Allen, but I worry about their long-term health because they're a little bit older. They've been running.
Yeah, Lamar, Allen, Burrow, Mahomes. I think it's...
Would that be... So you'd go with 4 then?
I think I would take CJ. It's tough because he just won MVP, but I think I'd take him over Lamar.
Yeah, same here. Now, obviously, Mahomes...
The other 3...
No argument on Mahomes, but is there an argument on anyone else?
Not for me, no.
I don't... Mahomes, and that's it for me.
Okay, so Burrow. CJ would be number... So it sounds like you guys would only trade him for Mahomes, because I would also put Burrow on the list, but you wouldn't trade Stroud for Burrow?
No.
I guess you could argue it's at best probably a wash, and if it's a wash, why would you even worry with the trade? But
exactly.
I do think that we as a football community, not necessarily us 3, but just football community as a whole, just maybe had a little of a short-term memory loss about how good Joe Burrow is. He gets hurt for half a season, and all of a sudden he falls way down the the quarterback ranking list. I still think he's as elite as he was when he went into Kansas City and knocked Patrick Mahomes out of the playoffs a few years ago. But time will tell if he's healthy and if Jamar Chase decides to show up and play football. But so that we're talking one or two names on the quarterback side. On the
Yeah.
coaching side, I came up with maybe 4 or 5, probably just 4. But my 4 were Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Andy Reid, although depending on how long term we're talking about, Andy Reid might get moved off because we don't know how long he's going to stay in the league, and then John Harbaugh. And then I think you could make an argument for guys like, Dan Campbell obviously has turned around a historically awful franchise. I think Matt LaFleur has been great in Green Bay. So there's a few other names in consideration. Jim Harbaugh would also be in consideration.
I think I might take Jim over John.
That's fair. I think you can make an argument for both Harbaughs over D'Amico. So there's a list of about 4 to 5. Where do you guys fall with that? Like, to me, McVay, Shanahan, Reid are no-brainers that I would take over those over D'Amico. And look, I love D'Amico, but I'll take the offensive genius over the defensive genius. And then you throw in names like, maybe LaFleur, maybe Dan Campbell, the Harbaugh brothers. Where would you guys fall on that? How many guys would you trade D'Amico for?
Yeah, I think it really is kind of those. So I think it'd be Reid, McVay, Shanahan, pretty no questions asked.
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty easily.
I mean,
Although
this is a real tricky one because it's the same thing with CJ. We've only seen 1 year.
Yeah, so that's the hard part for both.
It's the same thing with D'Amico. We've only seen 1 year. Obviously, all the coaches that you mentioned have been in the league for forever.
And it's also hard with the offense versus defense as their side of the ball that they specialize in. So, like, as far as like defensive-minded head coaches or head coaches that used to be DCs.
D'Amico's one.
Yes.
I don't know how you guys. Obviously, D'Amico was the right coach. There's no need to like rehash, the decision making that went into the hiring of him. But in general, if all things are even, I would prefer the offensive-minded head coach, especially when you're drafting a quarterback number 2 to the defensive head coach. So the guys that I would take over D'Amico, McVay, Reid, Shanahan, are guys that would control the offensive side.
Yeah, could Mike McDaniel get in there?
I thought about him, but they've done so little.
Yeah,
once they get into the playoffs, and obviously he's limited by Tua. I think that's a part of the conversation. But I think he's kind of on the cusp, but I would still take D'Amico over him.
Yeah, I think if you're not having a bias towards offensive play callers in your head coach, I don't think it's as close. But then if you value having an offensive play caller more, I think that's where Mike McDaniel gets a little bit of where he can get into the conversation. I think otherwise it's not quite there yet, just because they both have such a limited resumes, and the guys that have it pretty clearly over D'Amico, like Cam was saying, have very extensive resumes.
It would be hard for me to want to trade him for Shanahan because they come from the same system. So I feel like essentially I'm
different sides of the ball, though.
Different sides of the ball. I mean, Bobby Slowick, though. So he brought the offensive coordinator over.
Oh, so you're saying Bobby Slowick's good enough?
Yeah, like I like Shanahan, but it's just kind of like if I'm gonna.
You already have his offense.
Yeah, that is an interesting way to think about it. Is just to be like, I will hire the former quarterback coach for the.
I'll just keep stealing his coaches, and then you don't need them. That is actually a pretty good point.
Picking off a Shanahan guy. If every Shanahan offensive coordinator is gonna become a head coach, then hiring a defensive head coach, hiring what we think is the best defensive head coach in the NFL, hiring him and then just saying, we'll just figure it out with one of these Shanahan clones, and then he'll be an OC for 2 years, and then he'll be a head coach, and we'll go pick a Clint Kubiak. We'll go pick does Shanahan have a cousin or something? Or is there another Callahan out there that we can hire?
Is there some guy out there that, I don't know, maybe has a matching tattoo with Kyle Shanahan? Maybe his name is Chris Sims. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's a interesting way of going about it. Now this is kind of a like head coach conversation. Just in, would you rather have the sixth best offensive head coach or the best defensive head coach. And I think with D'Amico, with what he can do on the defensive side of the ball, I think it part of it's also because, and this isn't really anything D'Amico did, but he has CJ Stroud as his quarterback.
Sure.
Where when we talk about Mike McDaniel being stuck with Tua, no one's saying that Bobby Slowick is stuck with CJ Stroud.
No.
So it's a little bit of you get a defensive-minded head coach and also an awesome young quarterback, and the OC matters less. Where we've seen it with other guys around the NFL, other quarterbacks around the NFL, where it really matters who their offensive coordinator is.
And look, obviously Andy Reid is an amazing coach.
Uh-oh. Sounds like you're about to hate on him.
How much of it is Patrick Mahomes?
There it is. There's the hate.
How much of it is Patrick Mahomes?
This sounds. Are we having the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick conversation?
No. Well,
That's exactly what's happening.
Wait, no, we kind of are.
Yeah, we kind of are.
I should know more of this, but how many Super Bowls did Andy Reid go to in Philadelphia with Donovan
He went
McNabb?
to one.
One,
He
and
threw
then
up all
Donovan
over
McNabb
himself.
puked all over the field when they're trying to make
I
the
do
comeback.
remember
And
that.
Literally threw up on
yeah,
him.
he literally threw up on the field.
So obviously Andy Reid, like I said, is a great coach, but he has had a lot of success recently because Patrick Mahomes. So when you brought up that list of would you trade D'Amico,
It's fair because without Patrick Mahomes, like if Patrick Mahomes had never been drafted by Andy Reid, we wouldn't be saying. I don't think we probably wouldn't be having this conversation about trading D'Amico for Andy Reid.
No, he also wouldn't be in the no doubt about it best head coach in the league.
Yeah,
kind
you're
of
right.
conversation
No,
that he's
it's
in.
a fair comment.
And even when 2 years ago when Belichick was still around, or I guess last year, when Belichick was still around, people were still like Reid over Belichick. That does not happen without Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, for sure. It's a fair point. So where did you guys land then on? I think you said you would take only Mahomes over C.J. Stroud. Where did you land out on the coaches?
I was with. I said Mahomes, Burrow, Allen.
Oh, okay. And then I think Cam,
I'm
you were
just
just
Mahomes.
Mahomes. Where did you guys land on the coaches then?
I
I was at 4
I think-
with Reid, Shanahan, and although your points are valid on Shanahan and Reid, but Reid, Shanahan, McVay, and John Harbaugh.
I think I swap out the Harbaugh brothers.
And so
And
still 4. Cam, where
I
are
think
you
I'm
at?
with that list.
I mean, despite what I said, I would still. I think Shanahan's the only one that I would take off that list. Like I would still go McVay.
3?
Reid,
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean that all leads up to say, getting back to the point I made at the beginning of the segment, after we heard from Irish Cam, which there's been a score update, so we'll have to go back out to our stringer live in Dublin, Ireland here in a minute for a score update in Florida State, Georgia Tech. But getting back to the point that we led off with, like all this talk about sophomore slumps, the schedules talk, and we're taking 1 to 2 quarterbacks over C.J. Stroud and a max of like 4 coaches over D'Amico Ryans. Like, how can you not be extremely confident? And why are we worrying so much about schedule and sophomore slumps and D tackle's a little weak? We're worried about the third corner when the 2 most important positions you have top 2 and top 4 or 5.
And if you take them as a combination,
Right.
the guys that we're talking about,
Who else is in that conversation? Really, just really
Chiefs.
Kansas City. Yeah.
Yeah, the Chiefs. I'm trying to think of the coaches that we had on there. Yeah, no, that maybe Harbaugh, Lamar.
Maybe Harbaugh and Lamar, which is part of the problem because they're in the same conference.
Yeah.
So.
and they beat them twice.
I know.
They beat them twice.
I know it sucks. Like, can we move the Texans over to NFC for a few
Yeah.
years?
But I think that's a point well made that the bones are here for not just a great year this year, but I think the window. I mean, that's part of why everyone is so optimistic. Where even if you do think like, there is a chance that playing the scheduled game, all that stuff, that they fall back a little bit, maybe are either in a fight to win the division like they were last year, or may even have to be a wild card, or might make miss the playoffs altogether. But I think everyone is still so over the moon because of the combination that they have and how both Stroud and D'Amico have kind of solidified themselves, even after 1 year, as being one of these top combinations in the league, where I think part of the rosy outlook is more of the next 5 years of being a Texans fan than just the next 5 months.
All right. So before we get to the break, we got to go back out to Dublin, Ireland to Irish Cam. Cam, we last talked to you. Florida State had 11-7 win, but Georgia Tech 14 plays, 75-yard drive, capped off by a Haynes rushing touchdown from 1 yard out. What'd you see, Cam?
Thanks, Brian. Great to be here again. Yeah, a real back and forth. You know, we like to call this a real hot potato match.
I
11,
do like to call it that.
11-14. A real nail biter on the defensive end. I don't believe any other teams have more than 160 yards. So, you know, like I said, a real defensive game. We like it here like that. So, back to you, Brian.
Thank you, Irish Cam. I will, just for your safety's concerns, I'll make sure Sean doesn't mention the IRA again.
I will.
This show.
I was gonna ask how many meters.
Oh, we
is
gotta go
100
back out to Irish Cam. Irish Cam. Sean has a question for you, live from Dublin, Ireland.
how many meters is 160 yards?
Great question, Sean. Unfortunately, I've had too many Guinnesses, so I really can't convert it right
yeah,
now.
you and McAfee. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Over under on the amount of Guinnesses McAfee has had the last couple days.
Over.
Yeah, he just it doesn't. I don't even have to give out the number, right? Yeah, it's definitely an over. All right, we'll get more from Irish Cam throughout the show, depending developments there in the Florida State Georgia Tech game. But when we get back on the other side of the break, Anthony Richardson had a bit of a rough week. Maybe he could use a few Guinnesses. We're going to talk about that week and what it means for the AFC South next on the Bullpen. ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5.
This is the Bullpen on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here are the producers of ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Welcome back into the Bullpen, which is not live from Dublin, Ireland, although we will have reports throughout the day from Irish Cam live on the site of Florida State, Georgia Tech in his native Dublin, Ireland. So make sure to stay tuned for updates. And we got a flag on the field. You know what? Let's go back out to Irish Cam. Irish Cam, looks like we got a pass interference on the field. What'd you make of the call?
Bollywop call. Don't like it. Let the boys play, you know what I mean? We used to play like this back in the day. No rules, just throwing stuff. Believe in what we fought for. Let them play.
I thought you were going to say no rules, just right, and mix it up with the Outback Steakhouse. I was waiting for that.
So did I.
What a real British move, just throwing flags, being weak.
Yeah, you guys don't like the Irish, huh? An Irish Cam?
We don't
you don't like the British?
we don't really prefer the British. No.
That's-
The red coats. We don't like them very
Yeah,
much.
fair. Yeah,
Great
fair.
great comeback music there, Johnny.
Colonizers says British. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Ugh. No potatoes for the British.
Yeah. No. They eat that. They eat that beans on toast. I don't get that, Cam. Would you guys eat beans on toast out in Ireland?
Well, sometimes we do.
The islands aren't that far apart.
All right. We'll get more from Irish Cam later in the show. Thanks to Johnny Belmer there for the mood-setting music there, straight from the Isle of Ireland. So let's get into what, do you like the term Isle of Ireland? I don't know.
The Emerald Isle.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It felt like it fit. 14-11, Georgia Tech still leads. If you're watching and listening at the same time. Well, actually, if you're watching, you wouldn't even tell you that. Anyway, Anthony Richardson, terrible week. I don't know what to make of this, but we're going to go through it. And look, we knew he was the guy that was going to struggle, with the completion percentage, with being an efficient passer. We saw that during his 1 year as a starter in Florida. His completion percentage was in the 50s, which for modern football, not good. You should be, mid 60s at least. I believe CJ was like 65% last year in his completion percentage, and he was like middle of the pack in the NFL.
Yeah.
So in the 50s is pretty dreadful. And so this, like, the kind of the bleep storm for Anthony Richardson started midweek when they were having the Colts were having a joint practice with the Cincinnati Bengals, and reports started coming out about Bengals defensive players just talking trash to Anthony Richardson during practice. And I know when we first saw the reports come through in the Killer Bees, because it wasn't coming from Schefter or Rappaport or someone we were familiar with, like, I don't know, is this like a fax on MLB? Like, well, what is going on here? But sure enough, it showed up on The Athletic, it showed up on CBS Sports, and it was all real. So some of the quotes, and then we'll play some audio as the story progressed from Kirk Herbstreit here in a minute. But we had Bengals players talking trash. Like here's the first quote. Quote, "Throw the ball, bro," yelled Bengals defensive tackle BJ Hill via The Athletic. It continues. Quote, "Is that all he does is run?" added cornerback Cam Taylor-Britt, who yelled his barb at the direction of Colts fans who were in attendance. Continuing, quote, "He's just throwing to spots," veteran Bengals safety Geno Stone yelled at a different point in practice. Quote, "He doesn't see his receivers." And then all told in the practice, Richardson went 10 of 20 passing with one touchdown in addition to a pick. The reports early on for Anthony Richardson, look, now he is a guy, he only played in 4 games, only finished one of those. So he's still, this is going to be the most overused talking point for him all season, but he's still a rookie.
Yeah, and even his college career, he only started 13 games.
Yeah, one season at Florida, 13 games.
He's very green.
Very, very green. So I think it's stupid to obviously to write him off because he's so early in his career. He's played, as you said, Sean, adding it up, that's 17 games combined at the collegiate and NFL level. Hell, now today with guys that go to the college football national, especially now that we have the 12-team playoff game, guys in that title game are going to play 17 games in one season in college. So it's still obviously very early in Anthony Richardson's career, but it got even worse, I guess you could say, going into their actual preseason game on Thursday against the Bengals. Anthony Richardson threw a pick during the game. I'm trying to pull up his stat line here, but it was another like right around 50% passing completion percentage. I should have it here in just a second.
I think 10 of 20.
10 of 20. So yeah, just like the preseason. Okay, no, actually it was 8 of 14. So here we go. In his preseason game, he was 8 of 14 for 86 yards with a touchdown, but threw a pick 6. And if you've seen the replay of the pick 6, he basically threw the Bengals wide receiver. There was a Colts guy who ran kind of like a little quick curl pattern trying to sit down in the zone, but the Bengals DB was sitting right there side by side with him on his hip, and for some reason Anthony Richardson still let it go. It was picked off and taken to the house. His struggles then, as we're here right now, led to Kirk Herbstreit pondering a little bit about the future of Anthony Richardson and if he could be replaced by Joe Flacco.
Let me ask you something here. If you're Shane Steichen, best case scenario, Anthony Richardson he lives up to what we all hope he can do. Running, throwing, he's healthy. This team has a great year, and he's a superstar, right? What if he struggles? What if he has a good drive or a good game and then a bad game, a good game and a bad game? He's a pick. Everybody's kind of expecting him to be the guy. You got a guy like Joe Flacco with the roster they have. I just wonder how you handle that if it goes down that path if you're Shane Steichen, because you know what you're going to get in Joe Flacco.
Yeah, that's Evan Hall. You know, I would think you can feel it inside the team at that point, too. What are the guys thinking? You know, do we make the change here? What do we do? Yeah.
Yeah, hey,
I think you read the room.
Yeah.
Is what I would do.
Yeah. Again, we're all hoping to see him have a monster year and lead this team to great things. But that's the big thought. I think even if you're a Colts fan, you're hoping to see Anthony Richardson be this guy that can run this offense that Jalen Hurts ran 2 years ago in Philly, and he's running zone read and he's making plays. But if it's inconsistent, how long?
So, yeah, I don't. One, it seems like Herb Street. I don't know if you guys take him as a hot take artist, but it seems like a big reach to already talk about, because in the scenario he lays out, he talks about good game, bad game, good game, bad game. I can't see the 4th overall pick with 4 career NFL starts in the scenario Herb Street laid out, where it's good game, bad game, good game, bad game. You're not benching a guy like Anthony Richardson with his potential 4 starts. Well, at the time, right now, 4 starts in the end of his career. Let's say it's now 8 or 9 starts. Still, 8 or 9 starts into his NFL career. You're not benching the 4th overall pick if he's trading off good game for bad game. So I wonder if Herb Street has heard from either coaches in the meetings they have before these games, or if he's hearing from beat reporters who are telling him, like, I don't know, coaches aren't really happy with Anthony Richardson. If the team struggles, they think they have a lot of talent, they think they should make the playoffs. They brought in Flacco for a reason. If he struggles early on, they might give him the hook.
My whole thing is this is exactly what everybody talked about before Anthony Richardson got drafted. Was like raw talent, but like needed to develop as a passer. So like I don't understand why people are freaking out that he still hasn't fully developed as a passer yet, especially after only playing 4 games his first season. Like, let the dude evolve. I'm not saying he's going to be great, but like how can you really judge a guy off of 1/5 of a season? You know what I mean? Like that just it just seems just kind of like we're rushing this. But at the same time, I will say that comment where they said he's just throwing to spots, I guess that's
not good.
That's not good. Like if the defense is literally seeing that this dude is literally just throwing to spots, then that's not good. But at the same time that I say that, you got to let this guy develop. I mean, it's 4 games into like his whole career. Like I don't.
But Kirk Herbstreit doesn't pull that out of thin air, right?
He doesn't, and like I'm not.
I just kind of took that as either he's talking to coaches in these like broadcast meetings, or he's talking to beat reporters when he's out at practice, and he's getting this information somewhere.
True, and like who am I to disagree with Kirk Herbstreit? But I mean, like I still just feel like 4
you can
games.
Disagree with him all you want, bro.
Yeah, I still feel like 4 games into somebody's career. It is just a rush to be like, oh.
No, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you that it's a rush. I'm just saying that this thought and opinion might actually be there.
I don't really know how or why though. Like it would have to be you would already hear about, Shane Steichen wasn't behind the Anthony Richardson pick. Like you would hear that kind of
Probably
stuff.
so.
If I'm as much as I do think that yes, these guys that are calling the games obviously talk and they're connected, and I mean but normally the day or 2 days before the game they sit down in a meeting with the coach and talk for 45 minutes. A lot of times when you hear people say, so-and-so has been raving, like Coach so-and-so has been raving about this guy, blah, blah, blah.
You can tell when they get the talking points.
It's because, they literally talk to them about it. And so I do, that obviously is something that happens. I kind of think, I kind of think this is just Kirk Herbstreit just pulling it out thin air. I think it's something where it's a preseason game. The backups or maybe even third stringers are in, and he is just like, he struggled today, and what if he keeps struggling? Maybe he gets the hook for Joe Flacco, someone who got a lot of press, got a lot of adulation. He was one of the stories of last year,
Sure.
stepping in for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, the Browns like fourth quarterback year that year. It certainly could be just speculation, trying to fill time in a broadcast because it's a preseason game and the starters are out, and who cares? But I mean, I also there was another clip of Jermaine Burton, the Bengals rookie wide receiver out of Alabama. Also, I think was spent time at Georgia. But Herbstreit went to a point where he's like, yeah, he's got to stop falling asleep in meeting rooms. They're like he looks great in the field, but like he didn't get that from like he's not in the locker room to know
Yeah.
Jermaine Burton. Like someone's passing him this information,
true.
so it
That
stands
is
to
true.
reason. Obviously, different teams, but maybe if they're getting Jermaine Burton's falling asleep in team meetings, maybe they're getting information on Anthony Richardson. But I mean, to kind of wrap this up and put a bow in it, I will say like the scenario he laid out. I had two big problems with what Kirk Herbstreit said. One, the scenario he laid out where it's good game, bad game, good game, bad game. They're not going to bench the fourth overall pick and it's still basically his rookie season because he's alternating. That's what rookies do. They
Yeah.
alternate good games and bad games. That's not unusual for a rookie. And the other part, quickly, Sean, was he said, well, you know what you have in Joe Flacco. Do you?
I know.
I mean, like, do you know what you have in Joe Flacco? He's very inconsistent. We saw how good he was like in the game against the Texans in the regular season. Then what happened in the postseason? Yeah. He's also good game, bad game. Like you're not getting this extra level of consistency by switching to Joe Flacco.
What Joe Flacco did was impressive last year, but it was not good quarterback play.
No, exactly.
I think he got a lot of credit.
That's a good way to wrap it up.
He had the #1 defense behind him.
Yes.
Right. All right, let's go ahead and get out here. We got some more Texans and NFL stuff on the other side, and maybe another update from Irish Cam as Georgia Tech Florida State hits the halftime. Right now, a 14-14 score there in Dublin, Ireland. So we'll hear from Irish Cam when we get back, and more Texans and NFL on the way. That when the bullpen returns on ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5.
This is the Bullpen on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here are the producers of ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Welcome back in ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5. It's the Bullpen with the producers here of ESPN Radio. I'm Brian McDonald with of course, is Cam Smith, Sean Mapes, and our man Johnny Belmer behind the glass. If you want to get in on the conversation, you can call or text us on the HRP listener line. That, of course, is 713-780-3776. But before we get back to the Texans, we have a halftime score of 14-14 out in Dublin, Ireland for Florida State and Georgia Tech. Barn burner. The Noles, they put up a stat at halftime. The Noles quarterback has 14 attempts with an average depth of target of minus 0.1. Let's go out to Irish Cam Smith. A lot of screen passes out there in Ireland. What do you get the sense of the Irish crowd and what they make of this less than vertical passing attack? Irish Cam Smith.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. I'm as shook as a hand at mass. I mean, the efficiency in this game, it's really mind-boggling. You think you'd get some more deep throws, and then of course you have the Benedict Arnold, the Tracer Haynes King, who came over from A&M, now playing for Georgia Tech. Actually playing a pretty fair game. DJ limited for Florida State. The transfer from Clemson. If I'm not,
that is correct.
If I'm accurate on that one.
What was his name again?
DJ limited. Sorry, my accent seems to be getting in the way of the proper pronunciation.
No, that's fine.
Don't hate on me for that one. But 14-14, the game's got a little better. But we'd like to see more offense down here in Ireland. We really like our offensive scores. Especially since they play so much football down here.
Any questions for Irish Cam Smith before we go back, Sean?
No, I think it's just very nice of Florida State to be basically playing rugby for the Irish fans, only throwing the ball.
Trying to play a brand of football they understand.
Only throwing the ball sideways or backwards.
Yeah. They want to be offsides if we're trying to make it a soccer thing here. All right, we'll get some more updates from Irish Cam Smith as the second half continues. But I wanted to play some audio this segment from the Texans, not only the Texans from the Texans side of things with head coach DeMeco Ryans, but also with some of the important Rams in town when they were here for their joint practice. Obviously, the preseason game going on now. We had some audio from Sean McVay and from Matthew Stafford were here as well. Basically, played the coach speak, played the say the right things players speak, and try to dig through it, interpret it, and find out if any of this actually matters. First, we have DeMeco Ryans talking about Dameon Pierce's biggest obstacles.
Yeah, Dameon, we got to get him some ops in the game, to get him some more ops running the football. But Dameon's done a great job out here at practice. I don't think everybody's seen that in the game because, when he had his opportunities, we got guys unblocked in the hole, so he doesn't have a chance to really get started. So, we just have to give him more opportunities, but we have to block it better up front so he does have opportunities to make some plays in the running game.
So first off, he says ops multiple times like it's a Chris Evans CIA movie. I don't know what's going on there, but I don't know. I don't know how you guys took this quote. Basically, he's trying to tell us, hey, ignore that, Pierce carried 4 times for 4 yards in the Steeler game. Ignore that he carried 4 times for 5 yards in the Giants game. Like, we just have to give him some opportunities. He's great, guys. I took this as coach speak trying to lift up and sell his player maybe for a trade or something like that as they approach cutdown day. Try to get him off the roster and make room for somewhere else. But I took this as total coach speak. I don't buy that Dameon Pierce is just needing some more ops. He's right there. It hasn't looked good on film, and I don't buy it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because it's something about who controls whether it gets ops.
Yeah,
the
you,
games.
DeMeco.
I mean, I won't sit here and say that the offensive line has been blocking up great for Dameon Pierce or any of the Texans running backs, but I don't think it's like the opportunities
have been there.
It's been
you get
there.
9 carries, you should be able to do better than 9 yards.
Yeah. So
or 10, it's 10 yards.
I think this falls into coach speak of just trying, like you said, trying not to bury his guy, whether that's he's gonna make the roster or for a trade.
Yeah, I'm with both of you on that one. And then the thing is, too, is they brought in Cam Akers, and Cam Akers has had more carries and has played better. So it's just kind of like I definitely think that they're trying to set up a Dameon Pierce trade situation because I feel like we've already seen what Damian Pierce can do. It's a different offense. He
Yeah,
doesn't. He doesn't.
he looks good in a non-zone scheme, and he doesn't look good in a
Yeah,
zone scheme.
this
Because
is
you mentioned you mentioned Cam Akers in that same game against the Giants where Pierce went four carries for 5 yards. Akers was 4.8 per carry. J.J. Taylor was 7.2 carry. Brooks, what is it? Is
British?
it British? Yeah, British Brooks, the British Bulldog, 4.6 per carry. Sorry, I'm glad Irish Cam isn't on the line right now to hear me talking about a British
So
guy.
glowingly.
I know it's. I love the British Bulldog. What can I say? He was one of my favorite wrestlers. But like I know Pierce isn't dealing with the first offensive line. Laramie Tunsil hasn't played. There's been some movement around. It's not the A squad up front, but still,
nobody is playing with the A squad up front.
right.
So,
And the guys behind him are doing better. So yeah, I take this as total coach speak. All right, next one up, we have D'Amico with some high praise for his rookie safety, Caleb Bullock.
Kalen's been steady. He's been making plays for us. He's been consistent throughout practice. He finds a way to get his hands on the ball every day in practice. So I'm excited about his growth and his development as a young safety in our system. I think he has a chance to be one of the better ones that I've had a chance to work with.
All right, so that is for Kalen Bullock, the third round safety. I don't know what you guys thought of this, but he seems to be pretty excited about Bullock. I don't know if it's excited enough to make him the starter. I still think when they're in the 4-3, it's going to be Petrie and Jimmy Ward back there as your safety. Now, when they do go to nickel, which depending on what part of the season you look at, they were, beginning of the season is maybe 60, 70% nickel. Towards the end of the season, it got up to like 90% nickel when they realized they didn't have the linebacker depth to play 4-3. But you expect Bullock to be basically a starter from day one?
Yes, I expect him to be the starter, or to at least be in the deep safety spot just as much as the starters are. I don't. There's going to be some rotation there, but I think especially with the way Petrie's been playing the nickel back, and with what we've seen from Bullock in the limited preseason sneak peeks that we got, and from what everyone's saying, not just D'Amico Ryans at camp, but the reporters there at camp, Bullock's has had a good training camp. So I think there's a really good chance that he's the starting safety.
yeah, I completely agree. Especially after we saw that the last game where Petrie had that, he was playing up closer to the line and had that interception.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's Petrie's prime spot to play. So I definitely see Bullock starting. I mean, there's too many positive things being said about him. Why would you not start him?
Yeah, no, I'm with you guys. All right, one more before we get out and talk Astros on this side. We'll have to make this one quick. But Sean McVay with some praise for the Texans secondary.
I've been super impressed with Stingley from when he was coming out, and then you watch the production that he had last year, and I thought Petrie was all over the place. Jimmy Ward is a guy that I've always respected because of the athleticism, the position flex, and what he enables them to be able to do as a safety, or a guy that can drop down and, play coverage on receivers or tight ends. But I thought, Petrie's a guy that you can see he's really good. I felt them today, and they did a great job. And then obviously having two special guys coming off the edge makes a major difference.
I take this as actually real. I don't think this is coach speak. Now, I mean, Sean McVay and any coach, he's not going to crap all over the opposing defense he's looking at. He's not going to talk down to him. He's not going to give him bulletin board material. So you would expect praise, but I take this as real because he was specific. It wasn't just, they flew around, they made plays. I think they're great athletic. They got a great group of guys. Like, he listed guys and what they're good at. Yeah. Now, that could be because he's also spent time scouting them and he knows, what they're about, especially Jimmy Ward, who we'd have seen in the NFC West for all those years. But because of how specific he was with his praise, I took this one as real. I believed him when he said he was impressed by the Texans defense.
Nah, I believe it too. I mean, like you said, he was specific with names. He was just, descriptive about what he liked about them. And like you mentioned, he might have scouted them. Yeah, he might have wanted them too. So
yeah, good point.
But yeah, I mean, this ties in with the Bullock thing. I mean, the secondary for the Texans was kind of the weak link last year, and it seems like they have made drastic steps this offseason with the draft picks and the signings to really jumpstart that secondary into what could be an elite secondary this year.
Yeah, I agree with you guys that how specific it was with
Specificity was
yeah,
what you're trying to get
yeah,
out there.
and then just like
You're like, I'm bailing on this.
yeah, just bail. How the
Sorry.
nature in which he was
There we
specific.
go.
That's really what struck me. Why I think he's being sincere, and the segment's over.
All right, ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5. We will specifically talk about the Houston Astros next on the other side of the break. Hell of a way to lose a game, and now Jordan's hurt. The sky's not falling. Everything's fine, guys. Don't worry about it. ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5.
This is the Bullpen on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here are the producers of ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Welcome back in ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5. Switching over from some football and Texans talk over to the Astros. When I left Carbach Brewery, things were going well. When I got out of the car to go inside, it was 5-2 Astros. Jeremy Pena had just hit a home run. Things are looking good. And then, Brian Abreu, who's nails, never gives up any runs. Probably the best non-closer in all of baseball as far as bullpen arms. And then he gives up a grand slam to Anthony Santander.
Yeah. Huh.
And things, 5 earned runs in the inning for Brian Abreu in the 8th inning. Astros end up losing 7-5, a game they led 5-2. Like I said, not a good ending. I don't really. It feels kind of like we sometimes judge baseball from like a football lens, which is unfair because like in football we want to react to every game like it's life or death basically.
It is.
Whereas yeah, because football's life. Everything else is just details. But baseball, I mean, it's 162. It's a marathon, not a sprint. All the different talking points, like my little jolly dance that I did there as I give out that spiel. But so I mostly take this as, look, Brian Abreu is great. He made it. I thought Santander. It wasn't like he grooved one down the middle. I thought Santander basically hit a good pitch. So I don't really take anything from it. But your overall thoughts and maybe overreactions you have them of last night's loss to the Orioles.
I mean, obviously that loss sucks, but it's just one of those. It is what it is. Brian Abreu, I have no worries about him going forward. It was just one of those games where things happen. I mean, they've been on a hot streak. They've kind of proven me wrong the last like 2 weeks, so I'm not tripping on them.
Because you're a hater. That's why they've proven you wrong.
Josh?
You've been a hater. No. Unfortunately the Mariners did win, so the lead is down to 4.5. But I still don't feel any less confident about them winning the division. I've played kind of the negative role because Jeremy and Joel are so positive, just trying to provide a different side of the
Always
conversation.
so positive.
I know, it's a funny thing. That's a funny thing to say. But the Astros are always so positive, so I usually take the negative side, and I've had my playoff percentages lower than I actually believe. But yeah, I mean 4.5 in the division. I don't take the Mariners serious right now. Obviously, the rest of the division's out. Last night sucked, but I'm no less confident today than I was yesterday before the Santander Grand Slam in them winning the division.
Yeah, I think again, it's baseball, marathon, not a sprint.
You got to do the little.
Yeah, I think. I mean, really, with the way the Mariners are playing, I think the Astros are going to win the division, no matter what. To me, it's more about can the Mariners get back to playing even a semblance of 500 baseball, because there's something they won last night.
They won last night, but they won in 10 innings against a team right at 500. So even in that, it wasn't,
I know the stat is that they were 1-8 in their last 9. So I guess now 2-8 in their last 10. So if they keep playing like that, or even like close to that, like the division's over already.
Which is good because obviously Astros got 2 more against the Orioles, then they got to go to Philadelphia. So it's a tough stretch.
Yeah.
I think you end after the Phillies series, you have the Royals at home, I believe, who is another team above them in the standings. So
it's an 11-game stretch that the Astros are 2 games in now, where I think there are teams that are all above
them
500. Above 500, and I think above them in the standings.
Yeah, the Phillies, the Orioles, and the Royals are certainly above them in the standings. So it's a tough stretch, but look, Brian Abreu, doesn't matter, still the best non-closer in baseball. Freak stuff happens. It's baseball, marathon, not a sprint. I'm not worried about this division race.
Yeah, I'm more interested in the measuring stick of them against Baltimore and the rest of the series.
Which right now they're 4-1 against the Orioles so far this season, and I know they I remember last year. Last year, it felt like when the Astros went into Baltimore and there was the Kyle Tucker Grand Slam, and I believe they won 2 out of 3 in Baltimore. That was kind of the moment you're like, okay, this Astros team, even though they were struggling, eventually only ended up winning 90 games. That was the moment where you kind of felt like, okay, they're still the team that we've seen in this dynasty. I think should have won last night, and then winning the first game, sweeping them here in Houston. I still feel like the measuring stick, as you said, Sean, shows me that the Astros are still a team that can make that deep run in the postseason.
Yeah, I think that's really all that you're looking for, even for this entire stretch where you're playing these good teams, is you want the Astros to hang with these good teams.
Right.
And I think asking for anything like, a 9-3 run through these 12 games or something like that, you're asking for a lot there.
I think some of it is
a game or a game or two above or below 500 on this road trip is like, that is what I'm mentally marking in my head. That's my expectation.
Yeah, because I think it was a 9-game road trip or something like that. If they went 4-5 against this competition, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah,
I think Astros fans, what was it? They went like 8-1 on their previous 9-game road
Yes.
trip, including sweeps of Tampa and Boston. That's not what we're going to
No.
get on a week-to-week basis. That's definitely above the expectation.
But if they can win this series or even split the series, they have
split the series, I'm fine with.
They have Fromber going today, so I feel pretty good about at least getting the split here in Baltimore.
Yeah, for sure. So now let's get to the other big news. A day that ends in Y, there's an Astro with discomfort. That's just kind of the way things go. So Yordan Alvarez, as we were, getting ready for Rock the Mic, before we got to that part of the show last night, the Astros lineup comes out. Yordan's in it in his usual spot. The world's fine. Nothing's on fire.
Nothing wrong with the lineup.
Nothing wrong. Yeah, dogs are barking. Kids are singing. Everything's great. And then all of a sudden we get an update from Brian McTaggart. It's like, hey, hold on a minute. You guys are happy. Let's go ahead and scratch Yordan Alvarez from the lineup for get ready for it, neck discomfort, which only means he's going to be like Christian Javier and have Tommy John in a few weeks. Apparently, that's what's going to happen next. But Yordan Alvarez scratched from last night's game with neck discomfort. Look, I would like to take this as no big deal, but considering the Astros' history with Christian Javier, neck discomfort turning into Tommy John, obviously this entire almost 3 months thing with Kyle Tucker when they didn't even initially put him on the IL. Like, hey, he's gonna be back by the weekend. 2.5 months later, still not here, and he's doing kangaroo hops like he's in the Olympic breakdancing competition. He's still not even anywhere close to coming back. So
Verlander had a neck.
Yeah, Verlander had a neck. He was out for like 2 months as well. So I want to take this as no big deal, but it's Yordan and it's the Astros, and I don't believe anything they tell me. So when they put the discomfort title, that tag on it, I kind of have a tendency to freak out a little bit. Where are you guys at?
I'm just flabbergasted that it is another
I like that word.
I slip wrong type of injury.
I know.
And
we don't have time to get into it, but Bregman totally lied to us.
Yeah, and I don't know if I was talking to Sean or Joe George about Bregman and Javier and their sleep issues, and then 5 seconds later we get the announcement that Yordan had neck discomfort when he woke up, and I'm just like, what the are these guys sleeping on at these away games? Like, what is the hotel doing?
They're saying at Best Westerns. That's the only thing I can figure out.
I was gonna say maybe he heard
Hotel
the show
6?
last week and heard Cam's idea and tried to sleep in the chair.
Oh
messed
yeah,
his
see,
neck
Cam,
up.
you heard him. What'd you do, Cam?
No.
I told you those tiny ass hotel chairs are going to do it for sleep for a big man like Yordan Alvarez. It not making me feel any better about this, especially the story, because we've already seen from the different quotes and the different information given the Alex Bregman situation, that whole BS of sleeping on it was total nonsense, complete lie. And now we have Yordan Alvarez, the quote, this is via Brian McTaggart on Twitter, quote, I want to feel great. I don't, unfortunately. That's an amazing statement right there. I woke up with some pain in my neck, and it goes down a little bit to my scapula. I don't know what a scapula is.
Shoulder blade.
Shoulder blade, okay.
I looked it up.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for admitting that, Sean. Quote continues, if I knew, because he was then asked how long he'd be out. The quote continues, if I knew the future, it would be a little bit different. Hopefully tomorrow I'll wake up better. I hear this quote, and if I wasn't pressing the panic button, if I wasn't pressing the panic button before, I am freaking now, because the idea of just take him at his own words. I woke up with neck pain that went down to my shoulder. Scapula, sure, whatever. Thank you, Dr. Mapes. But if that's true, why was he in the lineup to begin the day and then only taken out hours later? Like, if he woke up with this same pain that kept him out of the game and he's telling us that's what's wrong, then why was he in the lineup? Like, I just don't believe anything the Astros tell me.
I don't have any answer.
Look, I love the Astros. Rooted for them since I was a little kid in the 90s, but they're lying to us every time.
It really is mind-blowing.
Ballsy. How much of a liar they are.
They can't go a week without a story like this, because last week on Friday,
Alex Bregman.
It was the Alex Bregman woke up funny, and we were talking about that. Now, the next Friday, someone else woke up funny. It can never be just diagnosed, going on the IL or not, or just I'm gonna miss a day or two. it's this injury that is a real injury and diagnosable. Not
And we're not going to tell you, tell it to you. We're
not
just
I
gonna-
woke up wrong. It's here's an actual thing. Neck stiffness, even. I like discomfort jokes. You can just give me a different adjective
Yes,
for what
please,
is happening.
Just don't
with,
use discomfort. Like if they had said anything else other than discomfort, I might have felt better. Because I just don't believe, as important as Jordan is to this team with his injury history, because we know he's had plenty of injuries, missed the whole 2020 season. He had the hand thing that cost him like basically all summer a year or two ago. The oblique injury that he also had last year that cost him some time. You know, if he's waking up with this, I don't believe they put him in the lineup initially. The timeline to me leads me to believe he's fine when he wakes up. This whole story about sleeping on it wrong, like it was with Bregman, total BS, and that he did something in batting practice or running the field, tweaked it, and now they're covering it up. That's what I take it as. Now, look, that's total speculation, but given the Astros' track record, I think what I'm saying is just as credible as what they've put out.
What if he took a nap and woke up from his nap wrong?
Wow.
Aha.
Wow, Dr. Mapes has figured it out.
Defense attorney for the Houston Astros doctors.
And also avid or advocate of midday naps, Sean
Advocate,
Mapes.
yeah.
So yeah, maybe it is. The timeline makes no sense. If he wakes up with this, we're not putting him in the lineup. It makes way more sense that he's fine. He maybe pulls something in batting practice or, batting practice, and then they try to cover it up because batting practice injury sounds way more long-term. But
Why are we covering it up? Like,
I don't
what is
know.
it
Why
gonna-
do politicians lie? I don't know.
That's well,
Yeah, I mean that's
You don't know.
exactly it, Cam. I don't know. They just do. All right, we got
can't
to get
know.
out. We're way over. Johnny's going to yell at us in a second if we don't get out. When we get back, it's time for the hype train. ESPN Radio. Don't go anywhere.
Raiders come with just 4. They got pressure again. Oh, Kittle made a great grab. He was right between Mauga and Jaden Grant, and somehow the ball found his hands.
This is the Bullpen on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here are the producers of ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
It is time to get hyped. Houston, ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5. Welcome into the NFL hype train. Brian McDonald, Cam Smith, Sean Mapes, Johnny Belver behind the glass. Right now, we heard coming into it via the Johnny Belmer hitting it there in the 97.5 studios. We heard George Kittle with the big reception in last night's preseason game. George Kittle had 3 receptions for the day on 4 targets, 34 yards in Friday's preseason finale against the Raiders. George Kittle, look, guys, if Brandon Ayuk gets moved, this is somebody I'm way in. Like, even when George Kittle has to split targets with Debo and Ayuk, he still ends up, you look at it, other than like one fluke year, I think it was 2 years ago, where he was like tight end 30 or something, he got hurt. He's top 5, like 5 out of the last 6 years. I mean, George Kittle, even when he's splitting targets, is elite. And we remember before he had to split targets, he set the NFL record for it was either yards or receptions. I don't remember what it was at the time. So George Kittle, to me, I don't know where you guys are willing to draft him, but to me, especially if I'm willing to target him anyway. I think he's being undervalued. But if Ayuk gets moved, let's say he goes to Washington, he is the tight end I'm targeting in fantasy drafts coming up this week. I am all board, baby. Where are you guys at?
Yeah, I'm on the Kittle train. And obviously, a lot of it for the same reason that you just mentioned, especially if Ayuk gets moved, he's going to get so many more shares. I mean, I think he's ranked 7th right now as far as like fantasy tight ends, which for me, that would be an absolute steal.
He's still already, he's a still, even if Ayuk doesn't get moved, to me, if he does get moved, he's a must pick.
Yeah, I like him where he's getting picked, even if the situation stays the same. So I'm on the Kittle hype train.
Guys, believe the hype.
Thank you. And I think it's a very interesting bet, or I guess a hedge against Ayuk or even Debo, who is the guy
also don't stay healthy,
who's taking a lot of hits. You know, obviously he got used as a running back a good bit before they made the trade for McCaffrey. So he's someone that, you know, you might not feel good about his durability. Now it's Ayuk, who's been out of training camp and might get traded, or even if he stays, he's been out of trip. Maybe he gets a soft tissue injury. As
it happens all the time with these guys to hold out. Yeah.
So you're looking at really great upside for Kittle somewhere where you normally are not getting upside for tight end.
Definitely so. All right, let's stick with the 49ers and Raiders. Another report coming out of that game last night. Backup running back Jordan Mason, someone I think you should pick in the last pick of your draft. Obviously, this is not a guy that you want to target early, but if you draft Christian McCaffrey, I think he's a good handcuff. And also, I think he's just a good pick at the very end of your draft. Maybe like last round, second to last round, something like that, because we've seen Christian McCaffrey right now. He's been basically out all of training camp with the calf injury. We know his injury history. His direct backup, Elijah Mitchell, has been even more injury prone than Christian McCaffrey. He's constantly hurt and is right now dealing with the hamstring. We know the tendency of those injuries to linger. Jordan Mason's looked good. He's looked good in the past in his limited opportunities. In last night's game, 8 carries for 42 yards. You guys in on the Jordan Mason hype train for the last pick in the draft?
I guess if that's a hype train worthy thing.
He's undrafted right now.
He doesn't even have a profile picture.
Yeah. I was going to point that out.
Like,
I was going to point that out.
Hype him up.
No. I'm sorry. I
don't believe the hype, people.
It's the last pick of the draft.
Don't believe the hype, people.
I feel like there's other people I could give the last pick of the draft.
It's the last pick of the draft.
Somebody.
Give me a name, Cam.
Oh, shoot. Not Jordan Mason.
Sean.
I mean,
my backup quarterback.
What a sell. He could be the last pick of your draft.
Well, where else do you want to take him? He's possibly a third string running back. He's a dart throw.
So far, all the hype around him has been the better running backs on the roster are hurt.
Yeah. And he plays for Shanahan.
And he's going to be the last pick in the draft.
Damn right. All right. I'm glad to hear you're on board, Sean. I think that is on board, baby.
I'm at the caboose, but I'm on board. I'm not leading the hype train.
All right. Enough of the 49ers and their depth chart. Let's go over to Miami Dolphins. Backup running back Jalen Wright. Another running back situation where I think injuries, age, all things could be a factor where you take Jalen Wright, not with the last pick of your draft. He's more hyped. Very, very hyped. But Jalen Wright, I think, is somebody you should target, not only if you take, Devin Achane or Raheem Mostert in your draft, but Mostert is 1,000 years old. He's about to die. He's injury prone. Devin Achane is a tiny little running back out of A&M. You know he's going to get hurt. He was hurt half of last season. I think Jalen Wright is a nice pick, not in the last round, but last third of your draft, where you know Raheem Mostert's going to spend time on the injury report. You know Devin Achane's going to miss some games. And he's connected to a running game with Mike McDaniel that takes these little bitty speedbacks like Jalen Wright is and turns them into superstars. So Jalen Wright, like last 30 of your draft, are you taking him?
Oh hell yeah! I love Jalen Wright. This is a guy, like if you're in like a dynasty league or like a multiple keeper league, this is somebody that I would love to take in the later rounds and just have for years, because everything that you just mentioned about Raheem and Devon, like Raheem can't stay healthy, and I mean even though Devon, I don't know.
Devon Achane.
Yeah. Even though he looked really good last year,
he was great.
He missed a lot of time
missed a lot
too.
of games.
So I love Jalen Wright, to be honest. I really wanted the Chargers to draft him like in the early rounds. So I'm very much on this hype train.
I'm also on the Jalen Wright hype train. As far as running backs that don't have a profile picture on the ESPN.
Does he also not have
app?
one?
No.
Yeah, the screenshot.
At least he's a rookie. That mean Jordan Mason doesn't even have that to go for him.
But yeah, I mean it's Raheem Mostert who, like you said, banged up, 32 years old, which for a running back is
1,000 years old. Yeah.
And him and Achane can split carries. I think there's enough for both of them to be. There's enough meat on the bone for both of them to be
meat
fantasy,
on the bone. I like that.
Yeah, to be fantasy viable.
Someone else that was fantasy viable last year, Rachaad White of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ended up as in PPR the running back 4, because even though he was under 1,000 yards rushing, his yards per carry just at 3.6, caught 64 passes for 549 yards and 3 touchdowns through the air. The Buccaneers didn't draft anybody to come in and take reps away from him, but I'm a little worried about that offense overall. Dave Canales leaves there as the OC, goes to Carolina to take that head coaching job. And Rachaad White is somebody, even though there's not really any competition for him, he's just so inefficient on the ground. You feel like he's always in danger of losing the job, but it seems like he's still in line to be the starter. In last night's game, he got 4 carries, 16 yards, so still fairly inefficient, but looks like he's going to be a good threat through the passing game, catching his only target and turning it into a 17-yard gain. Rachaad White right now, he's not in the top group of fantasy running backs. He seems to be in that third round range. You guys in on Rachaad White? It feels a little bit risky, but if you hit on it, he could get tremendous volume there.
I like him. I'm not gonna lie. I know he's a little efficient, like you said, but the fact that there's no other running backs there besides a hurt Chase Edmonds and Bucky Irving.
Right.
There's no reason to think that. I mean, I don't think
he's competition at all.
I don't think he's gonna finish top 5 again, as far as running backs. But I think if you get him in like the 4th round, it's an absolute steal.
Yeah, I'm not on the Rachaad White hype train.
This train is off the tracks.
It's I mean,
is it the 3.6 per carry?
Yeah, it's that.
Yeah, it's fair.
It has to be PPR for him to even be in the conversation, and then and probably full point PPR.
Oh yeah.
Do people play non-PPR still?
Well, people play half point.
They do half, and they do. I'm in a no PPR league.
Are you in a standard league
Yeah,
still?
yeah.
I didn't know those still existed.
No,
I thought those were dead.
My God.
We believe in earning your points.
Wow.
You are Mr. Establishment, so
I am.
I'm not surprised by that.
Also, Bucky Irving, the rookie out of Oregon that they drafted, is a guy who caught a lot of passes out of the backfield for Oregon. He caught 85 passes in the last 2 years in college, and for what's this? 700 yards. So he is a guy who can get work out of the backfield. So even if you're saying, well, he's going to catch Rachaad White's going to be the option out of the backfield catching passes. Well, the guy they drafted is also an option catching passes. So
right. So if you take that superpower away,
yeah, someone's on his corner.
Split it up. That is.
Mm-hmm. And so now I have to believe in him being able to run the ball, which he hasn't done so far.
Yeah, so right now I'm looking at his ADP. This is according to the Ultimate Draft Kit from the Fantasy Footballers. But right now he's at 311. So that is a tough spot. Third round, even at the end of the third round, does feel a little tough. I could see a scenario though if you want to go basically 0 RB. You draft 2 receivers in the first and second round. You come back with Rachaad White in the third round, hoping he's able to PPR it for you basically, and then you go back to running back or wide receivers and whatever else you have in the draft. Even in a 0 RB approach, are you still out on Rachaad White?
I think I'm still out on. I think I'm out.
I mean,
I guess you're already in, Cam.
I can see Sean's point if you're playing in a non-PPR league, but if you're playing in a PPR league, the fact that the dude had 64 catches last year, which, I mean, what is it? That's automatically, that's like 4 points a game just based on catches. That's why I feel like, and that's what's crazy is like the fact that non-PPR and PPR is like a huge difference where you would like draft a guy at this point. Because I feel like Rachaad White in the 3rd or 4th round is a steal, and obviously for Sean, definitely not.
Well, Sean's playing in the Stone Ages in these standard leagues.
I believe in having to earn your points. I'm not part of this participation trophy generation.
All right.
Everyone gets a point. Oh, you caught the ball behind the line of scrimmage. That's a positive fantasy play.
But did they catch it, Sean?
Get out of here.
Greatest generation Sean Mapes there with the hater mindset. All right, we
bring
gotta
back
get out.
the wing tee.
Hype train is over. Enough. No more hype train. Cam's got our big question when we get back.
Broadcasting live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, it's the Bullpen on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
ESPN Radio 97.5, 92.5. It is that time that we get to the big question. It's not myself. I had the one last week. 2 weeks ago, Sean Mapes had the big question. That can only mean one thing. Cam Smith, the big question this week, sir. Your turn.
Yes, thank you. So this stems from a conversation that I was having with Sean yesterday about hot temperatures in football games.
Okay.
So
okay.
I posed the question of, would you rather watch, I mean, it doesn't even matter the sporting event, but it's an open stadium, either in freezing temperatures or 100-degree temperature?
Okay, so you're saying like literal freezing, so 32 degrees?
At least 32 degrees.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a big difference. Like 32 I think that changes my answer.
Let's go to the extreme. Let's go under 20 degrees.
So basically like the
degrees.
Chiefs-Dolphins game last year where people being taken out in stretchers with frostbite after the game and losing appendages.
Yes.
Okay, so that or 100 degrees?
Extreme cold or extreme heat.
Basically.
Yeah, like I think I'll take the heat. I mean, I could drink some. Look, this is not just being, someone who, grew up obviously entire life in Houston. I like to think I'm a little bit more able to handle the heat. But 100 degrees, it obviously suck. You'd sweat your ass off, but you could drink water and be fine. I mean that Chiefs. Okay, I'm not drinking water. I'm drinking a lot of other things that are water based in some way,
Liquid.
but not actual 100% water. Definitely no Aquafina will be touching my lips, but that's obviously in part because it's a trash ass water bottle. But yeah, I think I can handle the heat more than what we saw with that Kansas City Dolphins game, where people. I mean, there was reports of I don't know exactly how many. It was maybe a dozen or so people like having to get like fingers chopped off because of frostbite. Like I no, I
Ever heard of mittens?
yeah, I guess. I mean, I would assume the people there did too. I don't know.
Like I know what I'm talking about.
I
Like,
know.
I've lived in that temperature before.
Dr. Smith over here. Yeah, I don't. I love it. I would like to send Cam to like I don't know the Antarctica. It's like yeah. What should I wear to protect myself? Just wear some mittens. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Never
like
heard of
if you
mittens.
put on mittens, it doesn't matter what degree temperature, and you're fine. No frostbite can touch you. I got mittens.
You're totally good.
You're totally good.
No excuses.
Yeah, no excuses. You put mittens on, nothing's gonna happen to you. But yeah, I think I'll go with the 100-degree heat over what we saw in that that Dolphin and Chiefs game last year.
So I'm looking up the weather because you can just look up the temperature for past dates at certain places. I went to a college football game where it was 93 degrees. So I can do the extra 7 degrees. I can say pretty confidently I rather just make it a little bit hotter because it's not even like you're not feeling those extra couple degrees. Make it a little bit hotter and I hey, I lived. I'm sitting here right here.
Mean,
all 10 toes, all 10 fingers.
yeah, you know where I'm not losing a finger? In the 100-degree heat. I'm not having to get it amputated because of the 100-degree heat. I mean, I've gone to Longhorn games in September. I've gone to Texans games in September when the roof was blown off from Ike, and so they had to have the roof open. I mean, it sucks. You're hot, but you can deal with it. I think better than the cold, especially with Cam's genius idea of just putting on mittens.
Mittens.
I don't know if mittens is going to save you from frostbite, Cam.
So I'm going the opposite direction. I'm going cold. And for two reasons. One, you can always
I like that you put out the two.
Yeah, I got it.
you can always add
We
more
need a crowd
clothing.
coming across the street. Cam's reason number one.
How many reasons?
Two.
Okay.
You can always add more clothing. You cannot take off more clothing.
Depends on how you party, Cam.
Well, I mean, true. I don't want to go to jail though. So you can't take clothes off when you're in a stadium. Like you can't get in the nude.
If you're hot enough, they'll let you.
I don't think that's a thing.
I mean, I'm not saying I qualify for that. I'm just saying.
Two,
I like that you moved on.
alcohol. It raises your blood temperature. So if I'm freezing, I can just drink a little bit more alcohol and I'll get a little more warmer. But if I'm already hot, do I want to get hotter? No.
If
I
I'm
don't.
hot, I can eat some ice cream. They've got it.
It'll melt.
I could put it in the little baseball helmet like they do at Minute Maid.
I'm no, thank you. No.
I can drink a cold drink. Like all what she said also applies to the heat, though.
I mean, damn it.
You can get ice water when you're in a hot game.
That's true.
You can stay in the shade.
You can stay in the shade.
You can-
Which,
can bring
it's
one
an
of those-
open stadium.
you
There
can
is
bring one
no
of those,
shade.
You can
those,
walk
like,
into the
Mr. Fa-
concourse.
You can bring
I
the
don't
Mr.
wanna do
fans.
that.
You can bring like the little Mr. fans.
All these ballparks have restaurants and basically sports bars at the ballpark now. You can just walk in.
I have seen more people pass out from the heat than I have from the cold.
How many games are you going to in freezing temperatures, though? You live in Houston.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, Brian.
One. I've been to one. That's all I needed.
All right. You got anything else?
I don't.
Okay. Well, I guess we can move on. I mean, Sean, do you have anything on your list from previous weeks? 'Cause I think I found.
Oh
some-
yeah, I can pull one up. I definitely had one because there was a situation where last week I did it was last week, right? Yeah,
last week. Yeah.
I did the big question, and then later that day I saw something. Okay, this comes I cannot take credit for this question.
I mean, I'd
nor
let
do
you.
nor do I really want to take credit for this
there we
question.
go. All right.
This comes from at Le'Veon Bell on Twitter.
I can see why you didn't want to take credit for it. Yes.
This is shamelessly a screenshot of Le'Veon Bell's Twitter. Who do you think you have a better or no, he says, who do you think we stand a better chance against, comma, zombies or aliens?
Ooh, this kind of harks back to a conversation.
Great question.
I think you.
Thank you, Le'Veon Bell.
I think Sean and I had this conversation with Joe.
We did?
A little bit, yeah, because
What?
when we were at Lake Charles, I asked you, like, would you rather live in the world of like Independence Day, Jurassic Park, or like The Walking Dead or something? No,
I chose Jurassic Park.
It was Independence Day and Jurassic Park.
No, actually, I think I still have. Yeah, actually, I don't have the question on here, but I don't think zombies were a factor here. So it changed. It definitely changes the
zombies
answer.
are a factor now.
No, right. So this is zombies or aliens?
Factor.
Is aliens?
Zombies or aliens?
I think I'd rather deal with the zombies because I mean they obviously could both overwhelm you and kill you, but at least the zombies you feel like you're smarter than. Like there's a chance to like I've seen the documentary The Walking Dead. You can herd them into areas, blow them all up, contain them. Whereas aliens, not only are they, I mean, they're in the air too. Plus, they're smarter. Like they're probably more advanced. If they've traveled from some other galaxy to get here, they're obviously going to be way more technologically advanced. They're flying around. I would take my chance with zombies over aliens.
Absolutely, we've already studied zombies. We know how to kill them. Like you mentioned, you can hurt
Just
them.
one in the
burn
head.
them. Yeah.
One in the
Aliens, you don't know what you're gonna get. There's been so many different aliens in these influential movies. They can fly, they can probe you, they can suck you up into their spaceship. No, thank you. In fact, I would welcome zombies.
Is this an open challenge? Cam Smith, open zombie challenge. Come at me, bro.
What is welcoming?
What is welcoming? You gonna go cause the outbreak?
No. I'm just saying, if
challenge,
if there's gonna be a fight, I would welcome a zombie to present itself. Like I feel like I could handle a zombie really well. I don't know what I'm gonna get from an alien.
Johnny, talk some sense.
That's the thing, though. What happens if we get the really fast version of the zombies instead of the ones you think we can manage?
Have you ever heard of Run Faster?
But what if the zombies I
don't think zombies will get tired.
Athlete? Okay, but we already know how to kill a zombie. Headshot. It doesn't matter how
good
fast
of a shot are you, Cam?
Good. I'm not gonna die, so good enough.
And honestly, if they're running fast, you can also just shoot their legs.
Yeah.
Slow them down a little bit.
Good point.
See?
See?
Yeah. But you don't know.
True.
You don't know what you're gonna get from Alien. Hello.
From either way, you don't know.
No, I'm with you. I'm taking zombies.
Independence Day
I think
with
you're a
Will
little
Smith?
overconfident in your ability to take.
You said the words.
You
I welcome a zombie.
Well, yeah.
You're welcoming in the end of humanity.
I'm a nice guy. Welcome. Now I'm going to kill you.
Okay. John, did you?
Yeah, you didn't get a chance to weigh in on the heat question. So if you want to give that one, and then where do you weigh on this zombie alien thing?
I would choose the heat on the first question, just because I'm used to it.
Cam? You're wrong.
You know what? Here's the thing: is
now zombies in 100-degree weather or aliens in?
Good point. One point I want to make: the game would be better in the heat, right? I think you'd get a better football game on the field or whatever sport on the field in the warmth rather than the cold. Second, I'm going with aliens. Only because all y'all took zombies, and I want to be different here. Zombies scare me. I feel like the fast ones. I think it was what was that?
World War Z.
World War Z. Yeah, that terrified me. Aliens, you don't know what you're gonna get. They could have been here the whole time.
So more
Mystery
advanced
box.
though.
Mystery box. There you go. I'll take the mystery box.
Could be a boat. Yeah, if you remember that.
I'll take the aliens in the 100-degree heat.
Okay.
A boat is a boat, but a mystery box can be anything. It could even be a boat. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Family Guy.
Okay, and thank you, Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, thank you, Le'Veon Bell, the great thinkers of this generation.
A real philosopher.
Seth MacFarlane and Le'Veon Bell. All right, when the bullpen gets back, ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5, it is time for the best part of your week in Houston, Mount Rushmore +1. Welcome in, Houston, to the best part of your weekend. It is time for the award-winning, groundbreaking segment, the segment that changed the landscape of sports radio forever, a segment that will be, at a later date, inducted into the Texas Radio Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Hopefully not 27 years from now. But Mount Rushmore Plus One is here, and I'd like to go ahead and lead it off. I had this epiphany on the way home yesterday. Hearing, I think it was an update about, I don't remember what game in baseball it was. It wasn't actually a team I ended up choosing for this one. But when they said the team, I was like, man, the team's just so uninteresting. It's just such a mad franchise. And so
I like this.
My Mount Rushmore Plus One is of the most uninteresting franchises in the three major American sports. You could call it mad franchises, uninteresting, boring. Basically, most forgettable, like teams. Like if I said, tell me something about this team, you're like, because you don't care. Like when the updates come across your timeline, you're not clicking that link.
Yeah.
You don't care. They're uninteresting. They're boring. They haven't done anything in decades. They're not relevant. So these are those franchises. Number one on the list, we're going to start off in baseball and actually start off within the Astros' own division, the LA Angels. Just so boring, especially post Shohei. Like at least with Shohei, there was something there. And now it's just the only thing interesting is like when is Michael Trout going to get hurt? When is Mike Trout getting hurt? That's the only thing interesting about the Angels right now. They don't have an identity. They started off in Anaheim and they changed their name to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim of Southern California, whatever the hell it was. There's no identity there. Their only star on the team never plays. Hell, even in that stars on time of the team, they've been to one postseason, and they got swept 3-0. They don't have a playoff win in like 15 years, so the Angels are extremely boring. Next one on my list, another team with an identity crisis. They used to be identified as being from Florida. Now it's Miami. The Miami Marlins are so boring. It's a crap-ass stadium. It looks so cartoony and cheesy. It's dumb. Every time they actually win, they just sell off all their players the next year. We remember 97 and 2003. Hey, great, there's a World Series. And now half the roster's gone. It's just a boring franchise. They're just a minor league team sending out talent like Stanton to the Yankees. It's a terrible franchise.
This is not a criticism. I just want to know, is this all going to be baseball?
No.
Okay.
No. The
the
first two are baseball. Honestly, I could have done a list of all baseball, but I decided to diversify.
Cincinnati Reds. Keep going.
Cincinnati Reds is certainly on the list. Yes. Boring ass franchise.
That's also what I wanted to know.
You could, another way to think of this is like if you're starting a season and let's say MLB the Show or, we'll not college football 25 or Madden. Like, who are the teams you're never picking to run a franchise with? That's kind of the genesis of this list
or
as well.
If you're sitting there and you don't have it in front of you, you're just trying to remember, like, either the different teams in the league or in
the teams you're like,
or in their division, and you're like, there's someone else in the NL Central, and you just can't get there.
Oh, the Reds. They're so boring. Yeah, Reds are definitely in consideration.
Nationals.
So were the Pirates, but Paul Skeens helps a little bit now.
Yeah,
it makes things sexy again for them.
There's some recency bias with them.
There's some recency bias for sure. All right, going over to the NBA for the next couple, both in the Eastern Conference. The Hornets.
Yeah,
just boring ass franchise. I mean, they go away, they go to New Orleans for a while, then they get the team back, but it's the Bobcats for a little, named after the damn owner. The owner's name is Bob, and they call themselves the Bobcats. A real Paul Brown situation, if you will. But the Hornets are just, when was the last time they were relevant? Like going back to Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson?
Yeah, they have
Muggsy Bogues?
Wow.
Like 94?
They've never played in the East Finals, and I think they've only won one or two playoff series.
And it might have been the Alonzo Mourning shot where he falls down and he's on the court with his arms up. And that's like 93 or 94. It's so long ago. It's just completely irrelevant franchise.
Yeah, that's a great one. And this is a situation where when it's a good pick, I got nothing to say.
All right,
well, how uninteresting they are.
The next two are actually the same region of the country. I don't know if they technically play the same state because that area is so broken up to where, like 30 minutes either way, you could be in a different market. But the Washington Wizards and the Washington Commanders, completely boring ass franchises. Two teams who can't figure out what their own name is. So I grew up, they were the Bullets, damn it. And now there's some wizard. Was this a Harry Potter team? I don't care.
How dare you? Michael Jordan played for them.
They have exactly my point at the end of his career. They haven't been relevant since Gilbert Arenas, and even that really wasn't irrelevant because LeBron was still knocking him out in the playoffs.
They were only relevant because he brought a gun to the locker room.
Yeah.
That's what we know them for.
And the Commanders, I mean, hell, they were so nondescript they were named Washington Football Team for 2 years.
Yeah, the relevance with the Wizards and to a certain extent with the Washington Commanders, they're relevant for the bad reasons. Mostly.
Yeah, because Daniel Snyder is sending racist emails or something.
The Wizards, fun fact about the Washington Wizards, it goes back to when they're the Bullets. They haven't won 50 games in a season since, I think, 1979.
Going back to what, Wes Unseld?
Yeah. They haven't won 50 games in a season.
Oh my God! That's that. There's way more that I could add on to that, but those are my most not relevant, uninteresting franchises in all sports.
Carolina Panthers off the hook.
There might be a future list where they make it if I go all NFL. That region is boring. Have you noticed a trend here? Anyway, Cam, your Mount Rushmore +1.
Mine is again based off yesterday, Carbach. So I had a few beverages there. The citrus one was nice. However,
is this going to be an advertisement for Carbach?
No, definitely not. I absolutely hated the peach beer that I got.
So we love Carbach overall. Great sponsor.
Overall, love Carbach.
Yes.
Definitely will
great
go back.
host, great venue.
Yes.
He did not love the Love Street Peach. It was the only one he did not like.
So I came up with the 5 worst beers that I have had. I'm sure there's worse, but obviously I haven't had every beer ever made. However,
it's close though. Irish Cam
has had all of them 5 times.
For sure he has.
You might hear from him in the next
He's thrown
segment.
up all of the beer in the world.
Natty Light.
Oh,
terrible.
Yeah, that's the reason for the season. Well, I'm trying to remember the coach it was that got caught at a party with co-eds drinking Natty Light.
Ed Orgeron?
I'm just gonna say Lane Kiffin.
Probably. I'll look it up during the break. Yeah, I'll look it up while you're talking.
Two good guesses.
I'll look it up while you're talking. But there was a coach that got caught partying with co-eds drinking Natty Light.
That's so terrible. Next one, Bush Light.
Yep.
God awful.
Yeah,
great
that's
list.
a good one.
Great list.
Next one, Milwaukee's Best.
Never had this one.
Don't.
I've heard it's bad. I've never had it either.
And I know I brought it up already, but that peach one, man, I tell you, I was irked that I ordered it. Like I was legitimately irked that I got it. But the worst of all time.
Found it. Larry Eustace, former Iowa State basketball coach, was caught partying with co-eds drinking Natty Light. Sorry,
never guessed
Sorry
that.
to Ed Ogeron and Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, you're off the hook.
They probably did it too.
They probably did it too. Exactly.
Yeah,
Don't apologize.
The worst one though, Big Flats.
I've never heard of that one. Where's that? Is that a regional
Big
one?
Flats was a CVS brand 6-pack that you could buy for $3.24.
Oh,
and there is a
$3.24?
reason why it was $3.24.
Oh,
even as a college lad,
you've never been so poor that you decided to go with. Well, you had to drink it once, right?
We would only buy it for beer pong tournaments, and most of us would eventually pour the beer out. It was so terrible.
Yeah.
Big Flats is horrible, and I think it only was around for like a year. Like
I
I
was
don't know
gonna say,
what CVS was doing.
A lot of the Google results are, does anyone remember this beer? Big Flats being discontinued? ? Yeah.
Thank God.
Oh, that's a good list, Cam.
It's
Very well
50
done.
50 cents a can.
Natty Light.
Yeah, man, it was terrible.
Natty Light. Ugh. I think you could also, and not to put down the state, but Lone Star. I think that could have made the list.
That's tough. I don't want to do it. So I don't want to do it.
All right, main event Mapes. Go ahead and main event, sir.
This one came up naturally in conversation. I kind of forgot what conversation it came up naturally in, but I said, "Oh, there's a."
Oh, we
Mount
were
Rushmore
talking about
here.
describing. No, I don't want to say the name. We were talking about describing someone people know, and terms you could use to describe old people, and happen to be someone we all know.
Yes, Mount Rushmore +1 of euphemisms for old people. Leading off, weathered.
Yeah, that was the one I came up with. Yeah,
weathered
that's a good one.
is a good one.
Like you say someone's weathered, you know what it is. It's like the leather face.
Yeah,
like the wrinkles.
There's a lot of imagery there.
Yes,
you know?
yes. Like an old sea captain.
Next one, this is very euphemistic. Experienced.
Oh,
Huh.
yeah.
Experience.
That's positive.
Almost a compliment.
Almost a compliment. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. This is I realize this is all just kind of like backup quarterback things too.
Things you could say about Case Keenum.
Yeah. Just think about Case Keenum when I say all these. This one is another good one. Long in the tooth.
Ooh, yeah.
I know what you're saying when you say long in the tooth. I don't know where it comes from.
Do teeth keep
I've
growing?
never heard of that.
Do teeth keep
don't know.
growing? I know like your nose and ears never stop growing.
Yes.
But yeah. Your nose and ears
Well,
never
I
stop
think
growing.
I think it's gravity too with your.
Well, sure. That's probably part of
your
it. But I don't
ears,
think your
it's just
teeth
pulling it.
like long in the tooth. I don't think teeth keep growing, right?
No, they do not.
I
No,
don't feel like
that,
they do.
that can't be true.
No.
No, because then we would look like beavers.
I'll do the research.
No, but
myself.
isn't it due to like some animal? I don't know what animal it would be, but
Probably,
like
like,
some
trying to
animal
measure-
that they found. Yeah, and the longer
elephants?
the teeth. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's a way. Yeah, kind of
But
like when you cut a tree and you count the rings.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
a way to count, like, see how old the animal was.
Yeah, like a rhino or something.
Maybe.
I don't know why I'm choosing the ones that are like getting poached. I don't know why I couldn't think of an animal that doesn't have ivory.
Animal rights activist
ivory
Sean
that I
Mapes.
want to steal off its body. Next one, grizzled.
Ooh,
This is a good one.
grizzled. Yes, I like that one.
It's a good one in a action movie starring any police officers where
Yes.
it's grizzled.
Yeah, the
It's
grizzled.
Usually
the
followed by
grizzled.
the word veteran.
Yes,
Yeah.
grizzled veteran. Yes.
Grizzled veteran is normally and yeah, they don't normally play by the rules, but that's
Yeah.
because they came up in a different time, and that's why they're so grizzled.
Has anyone grizzled ever played by the rules?
No,
like,
I don't think
think
so.
you can play by the rules when you're grizzled.
I think you go to war and you come back grizzled.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
And
Sometimes the war comes home with you, Sean.
no,
That's a part of being grizzled.
there's several movies with that
the
premise.
demons, yeah.
And the last one, it's a little bit different, but mature.
Yeah, I think that's a nice
mature.
way. That's a nice way.
He's
Like I didn't take many of these
as
as like
I tried.
obvious insults.
Yeah,
I
you
tried
could have been real mean.
I tried. Well, I went with euphemisms. I
Yeah.
went with euphemism.
Like weathered is an insult, I think.
Yes,
But grizzled, like, oh, hey, I'm badass. Thank
but
you.
I could have.
Like experience, that's not bad. Mature,
Yeah, but I could have thrown out like ancient.
yeah, the ancient would have been bad.
Yeah.
Ancient wouldn't have
Over
been
the
bad.
hill.
Also bad.
Life alert.
Cam just put him in the deathbed.
Decrepit.
Decrepit.
Senile. Yeah.
Oh, that's the worst one. Decrepit for sure.
Yeah, decrepit is you might as well be in the grave. All right.
Antiquated.
Oh,
That's a good one.
that's actually the worst one. Outdated. Yeah, that would be. Oh, that's rough, man.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brian.
Wait. Hey, what are
Wow.
you trying to say?
Oh, no, I didn't mean
The
to.
person we all know wasn't me.
I just didn't mean to upset you with the list or the impromptu list I ended up doing.
You throw the break.
Coming up next, the best and worst people in sports. Will it be me? Who knows?
Probably.
This is The Bullpen on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here are the producers of ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Welcome back in. ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5, last segment of the day before we get into the worst people in sports and what we love from sports this week. As you might tell from the Dropkick Murphys playing, the state of Massachusetts playing, that means it's time to go back out to Dublin, Ireland, and talk to our stringer live in Dublin at Georgia Tech, Florida State. There's been a couple of scores. We went to halftime, tied at 14. It's now 21-21. Touchdown run from Haynes for Georgia Tech, followed quickly with an answer from Florida State with another rushing touchdown as well from 1 yard out. Let's go out to Irish Cam Smith. We got a barn burner, not in Belfast, but in Dublin, Cam Smith, 21-21. What do you think of the action so far?
Thank you, Brian. Speaking of a burner, this game's really started to heat up like some Molotov cocktails. But, you know.
Hey, we said no more IRA
I didn't do it.
I can't. Oh.
I do believe I'm allowed to say that.
Okay. Yeah, you know, you're one of them, so I guess you can say it. It's
We would like to say, you know, we're very happy that they put a stop to all the maggoting, which in Ireland means stop all the foolishness in this game.
Thank you for the explanation.
Yeah.
Starting to be a real good one, you know.
We had to dump that.
No dumping. I am excited, you know, to get some shepherd's pie in my belly after this game, but I've really enjoyed being here. I really enjoy being on the air with you guys. You know, I'd love to be a stringer or ringer, whatever you call it back in the Americas. You know, just ring me up whenever you want me back.
Cam, one more quick one for you. It looks like from our TV view, tell us on the sidelines, it looks like some dark clouds are hanging out overhead. Is this if this rain starts falling, is this going to be a Donnybrook, Cam?
What'd you say there?
The Donnybrook. It looks like it's about to rain. It's about to pour. How's this going to change the action if it becomes a sloppy field there in Dublin?
You know, it might be a little bit of a sludge match, but, you know, it's nothing we haven't seen before in years past, you know? So we like it. We like the rain.
You like to play in the muck and the mud?
Yes.
All right.
It makes real men's out of men.
Thank you to Irish Cam. All right, let's talk about the worst people in sports, shall we, as we finish the show here. Sean and Cam, I think, share the same worst person in sports. So I don't know who wants to do the honors, but you guys tell us about the worst person in sports this week.
This U.S. flag football jabroni, Daryl Doucette.
Jabroni. Love it.
Who thinks he's better than Patrick Mahomes. Quote, at the end of the day, I feel like I'm better than Pat Mahomes because of my IQ of the game.
So Patrick Mahomes doesn't know ball? Is that what he's saying?
That's what he's saying. He doesn't know flag football. I would say even if Patrick Mahomes doesn't know anything about flag football, which, by the way, how complicated is it really?
Yeah, he's the quarterback. I could
just throw the ball.
He just throws the ball.
Just
he's not running around trying to avoid getting his flag pulled. He's the quarterback throwing it.
And even then, I kind of trust Mahomes to be able to run around.
Does Mahomes move around well in the pocket?
Yeah.
He does all right.
Against NFL defenses, he does all right. I don't know how they do in Switzerland in 2028, but when the Olympics come around. But yeah.
I thought this was a bit at first.
I think he's serious.
He is serious.
Yeah, he's serious.
This dude literally thinks that he is better than Patrick Mahomes.
All right, so my worst person in sports this week goes out to a retired NBA veteran, someone who might have been a grizzled veteran maybe at one time.
He was definitely long in the tooth in 2010 on the Celtics.
Yeah, he was long in the tooth. I don't know if he was grizzled. But Rasheed Wallace, I thought I'd heard every Michael Jordan dumb comparison. Hey, let's Jordan or Kobe, Jordan or LeBron. But Rasheed Wallace introduced us to a new Jordan debate this week.
Phenomenal player then, but I think he was a little bit more dangerous when he was with the Wizards. He didn't have the athleticism that we were used to seeing MJ have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'm with Bonzi. His angles were a little bit more sharp. You know, you wasn't going to move him. He was a strong 2-guard, 2-3 guard. You wasn't going to just move him lightly. And his shot became more dangerous. You know, he became more solid as that veteran player when his years in Washington, as the question stated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like one of them, don't leave him open.
Yeah. Don't leave Michael Jordan open.
I thought I'd heard every bad first take Jordan debate. Hey, Jordan or Kobe, Jordan or LeBron. Now we're having Bulls Jordan versus Wizard Jordan. I didn't need more Michael Jordan debates in my life, but Rasheed Wallace brought in a new one. You want old Jordan or new, or I guess, you know, newish? I don't know, whatever. Wizard Jordan or Bull Jordan?
Yeah.
Look, Rasheed Wallace knows ball, obviously. Successful NBA champion, whatever. How can you watch Wizards Jordan and say, yeah, I'll take that over Bulls Jordan?
How can you
What?
also say that he was less athletic but took
Oh,
better
yeah, he takes
angles and better
angles.
shots?
He's sharper
I don't.
with it. His shot's better. Whatever.
You can't be.
He was averaging like 14 points a game. No, it's not the same.
Yeah, you can't take better shots and have better angles if you're less athletic. That makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense. All right, we got speaking of not making well, actually no, this does make sense. Let's stop with what doesn't make sense. Let's stop swimming with the anger sharks and talk about what we loved in sports this week. Let's go ahead and doggy paddle over the sea of tranquility. Sean, what'd you love in sports this week?
The newest season of Dr. Pepper commercials during the college football season. Fanville, let's hear it.
That's pretty good. Are they all aboard at the end?
Yeah.
Maybe they're in on the hype train too.
They are in on the hype train as well.
I like it.
Cease and desist, Dr. Pepper. But yeah, I'm in. I'm in for the new sheriff in town, Quinn Ewers. I'm in for all the in jokes about the sign stealing scandal and the video game.
100%.
New conferences. I love it.
I love it.
And it also means football right around the corner.
The old commercials had I'm forgetting the name, the former linebacker for OU who played
Brian Bosworth.
Is he still in those?
He was in
Okay.
those.
Okay, good.
Didn't
I
have a
like that they
speaking
bring
line.
that back. All right. What I love from sports this week, Irish Cam. I love that Gal Media. I love that Gal Media paid for us to send a stringer to Dublin, Ireland, a native, had him out there in the muck and the mud there in Dublin, Ireland, to give us in the moment reports for Florida State, Georgia Tech. So shout out to Gal Media for paying that, and shout out to Irish Cam Smith for the live reports from Georgia Tech, Florida State.
Wow, he must feel really honored.
I bet so.
Yeah.
Regular Cam Smith. What do you love from sports this week?
College football, love it.
It's back,
love
baby.
It. I
This is so good.
I love it so much.
We got a good game too.
Yeah.
Sometimes these early games, you never know because these teams haven't faced the live bullets. But yeah, this is a good game so far.
Yeah, I mean, if Florida State loses, they'll be their own troubles.
Then we won't have to hear the nonsense about them raising banners when they don't get into the college football playoff
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. I mean, Georgia Tech has a pretty good shot at winning this game with less than 2 minutes left.
Are they still doing the triple option in Georgia
At
Tech?
times.
No, they throw it.
They got rid of it.
Yeah, it's not as much as it used to be. They'll mix in. I mean, all teams use options.
Game's gone
at time.
soft.
Yeah.
Game's gone soft.
Back in my day, we established the run. Kids
Okay.
these days,
Yeah.
forward pass.
Now all they want's PPR leagues.
Forward pass.
Rashad White.
Forward pass is a phase.
Yeah.
It's a phase. All right, that'll do it. For Sean Mapes, for Cam Smith, for John Belmer, I am Brian McDonald. Thank you for joining us this week, Houston. We will be back next week, 12 to 2, right here on ESPN Radio 97.5 and 92.5.